Emma,
Jay,
do you know why I'm excited?
I think I might be a little knowing what you're excited about.
You think? You think?
I think. You want to tell them?
Yeah, guys, it is season 3 of our podcast. Cue confetti.
I'm so excited.
This is really exciting for us because
Oh my
season
gosh,
3, that's a lot.
Yeah, I just can't, I'm just thinking of our season 2 and how good it was from start to finish, and how lucky I was to come in early on and finish with some great, amazing guests. And now we already have some locked in for the start, and it's just crazy. This is gonna blow out of the water.
I know. We have returning guests, we have new guests, we have different types of guests on the podcast that we've already locked in. And guys, this is episode 1. So the fact that we've already locked those in, I'm like, what? So it's really exciting for us. Obviously we've upped it. You can tell we have Emma a mic. And what did we say? We said for season 3, Emma gets a mic finally. So,
Now you
Emma got a mic, which is
I love it.
Pumped. And we just want to show you guys a little something that is on our shirts. We low-key, okay, so backstory to this. We were just making these for us, to have when we do the podcast. We're hey, we're just gonna wear some cool merch or whatever. And then Emma showed people, and she all her friends and everything wanted them. So I was okay. So we just decided, you know what's better than to start season 3 off with a bang than merch. So what you're looking at here is Emma has the gray. Wait, you're wearing the hoodie? Yeah, she's wearing the gray hoodie with the logo on the pocket. Then we have a black long sleeve with the same design as Emma has on. And then we have this hoodie, which is kind of a really cool, dark turquoise blue. It's not, it's like the Us Girls basketball blue. So if you know that blue, that's what it is. And then an orange, a bright neon orange. So that's just the first round.
Cozy. I don't know if you can see how that is, but it's super cozy, super warm. This is a medium and it fits a little oversized, but I love it. Got so many compliments yesterday. I already have so many people who want to get some. So if you're next in line, please let us know.
Yes. And by the time you're watching this, when this is out, it is pre-order for a week. So make sure to grab those because pre-order will close after a week. So make sure to grab them. This is just to celebrate season 3. That's all it is. So I'm really excited about that. I know Emma's pumped. Like she said, I literally have been wearing these nonstop. I've been wearing them nonstop.
Literally, I got home from Thanksgiving break with my family and I came back into town and I come to my door and there's just a package there. Opened it. Jay sent this gear to me and I've been wearing it since, y'all. It is cute, it is comfy, and it's just some way we can get our podcast growing. So if you want to spread the love, join the Us Girls basketball team.
We would love for you to support because every time you support, that just helps us be able to get the mission and what this podcast is out a little bit more. So we'd really appreciate it for sure if you could support us in any way possible. And if you guys like these enough, definitely more designs coming. That is something we are very willing to do. So,
and if any ideas, we said, we have long sleeves and crew necks. Still brainstorming some other things down the line. But if there's anything else, specific merch that you guys would be interested in, and multiple people, share your thoughts. And we would like to do anything that would help you guys get the word out and spread the podcast.
Yes. So with that being said, though, welcome back to the Us Girls Basketball Podcast, where we hear from real women, real ballers, and real stories. Today, you got Emma and I for the first podcast, and we're very pumped. We're very energetic. And the topic of today is, what habits do the best players adopt? Now, there could be a debate here because is a best player somebody who also, has a good attitude and treats their teammates well? Or is a best player somebody who just gets stats and does well on the court? You know what I'm saying? I think it's a mix of both. But I think that that's up to debate with other people as well. So if you have any qualities or anything that you feel we never discussed in this, make sure to let us know. Probably on Instagram because there's no comments on the podcast. But if you're watching the YouTube, comment down below. So with that being said, Emma, take it away. What is the first quality you think the best or the best habits that, or what habits do the best players adapt? Oh my gosh, words, Jay, words.
No, totally off the list that we made a few days ago, kind of to prepare for this podcast. The one that really stuck out to me was like tunnel vision. And when we all think of tunnel vision, it can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. And necessarily when we're looking at a good player, one of the quote unquote best players on a team or in an organization or whatnot, to me, when someone has tunnel vision, especially in a good way, it's they are so locked in to what they are doing and focused on not just the end goal, but the current goal in front of them. They're not taking out that championship mentality that's down the road, but it's, hey, this is game 1 of 1. It's 0-0. I'm going all in. We're going all in together. But then it's also knowing at the end of the game too, it's, hey, let's look at the game. How can we move on for next game? Forget about it in the past. Let's focus and keep moving forward. And we all hear that sometimes when people get tunnel vision, they really do lock in, they block everything out. And sometimes they get like in their own head and their playing isn't as well as they would want it to be. So that's why I'm definitely thinking in tunnel vision, especially if there's good communication with teammates and with coaches, that team can succeed so much together when they're focused on that one goal of the current game and that current situation.
For sure. Yeah, I really like that because if we're so focused with everything else, like whether that's even what down to like what the crowd says, or even like, I don't know, just if you can stay really like focused on the goal of the team, I think that's why it's really important to have expectations with yourself, with your team, with your coaches. That way you can enhance that, in that way. So I think that that's really key. I also think too, which is the second quality or habit that we have on here, is consistency. You need to be consistent. I think across the board, this might be one of the top things that you need in general. Now, consistency can go so many different ways. This can be like what we've kind of had around like consistency on the court. You know what I mean? Are you somebody that your coach can rely on? Are you consistent with not getting a lot of turnovers? Are you consistent with even your energy? Are you consistent with how you show up to workouts, to practice, to games with your energy, your effort, your hustle? Are you making players around you better because of your consistency? Because we all know we've had those teammates that are not consistent, and it really hurts us because we don't know if we can trust them. We don't know how they're going to show up this night, especially if it's a big game, and we need that. So I think that that's really important, that you really work consistency into your everyday routine. And that's hard. I will say, if you're not, I mean, the thing is we all have like seasons of consistency and seasons of not, but I feel like too, if we have a foundation of consistency, even the times that we feel sluggish or not all the way in it, you still have that foundation, so you can still work through it.
Absolutely. And I love how you said, like it's hard to be consistent, and it is, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And you don't see Michael Jordans and Kobe Bryant's all over the world. There's just handfuls, and you pick and choose which one those players are. It's because to commit to this game, to get it all the best that you can on and off the court, there's so much that goes into it. But I definitely feel like going off your consistency and how you said, like, you need to spread that throughout, like everyone being consistent with your workouts, with showing up and being a good teammate. That's also like, I feel like it plays into the idea of realizing that the game can be so much more than just a game. And outside of the game, you can spread so much hope, so much love, and bring other people together. So that's another thing that I think is a key role in a good player and one of the best players on the team.
Sorry.
I love it. We should make that an edit, and then you can come in every few minutes or something. I love that. But off the realization, like understanding that this is a game, but it goes way beyond the basketball court. So if you can focus in during that 40 minutes, that hour of playing the game on there, and then you can be approached off the court, that inspires so much hope for your teammates, for your coaches, for younger players that are watching you, knowing that you're not so locked in on that tunnel vision, that it's just game mode, it's just go mode. It's hey, step back, this game is giving me so much, how can I do better? How can I spread that game as well? And I feel like that is a crucial part of being a good player.
For sure. Yeah. And it's I know you wrote that point down, but it goes with the we before me mentality as well. And I guess like piggybacking off of that, That's huge. You know what I mean? You need to have that mentality. I believe that too. The best players are not necessarily the ones who are only good on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, why I know like a lot of people don't like him, but why I love LeBron James and consider him and Kobe and Jordan, like all of them, why I consider them some of the best players ever is because they bring people in for success. Like I remember hearing a story of LeBron when he got traded to, or when the whole Miami trade went down and he was there. Like very quickly, he told everybody to be there and to like, we're working out and it's like mandatory. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even though a lot of times people don't like practicing with them because they're so hard and they're so intentional and they're so like I don't know what the word is, but into it, it makes them better. I mean, look, then LeBron goes and wins how many championships? There's a reason for that. It's a reason for Jordan winning so many and how Kobe brought so much success to the Lakers and that because even though they wanted it for them, they knew that it's not just me that has to get it done. I have to have a team that backs me enough to trust me in this process. So that's why I'm really happy you wrote that down.
Yeah, definitely. And like stemming off of that too, really quick, it's crucial to know that like these players, they have like pros and cons to them that the social world spreads about them. It's mainly because like they are so into this game. They do want everyone else to succeed. They do seem like quote unquote like a hard ass when they're coming at us during like a game or practice. But then after it's all said and done, after the season's all said and done, we're looking at Diana Taurasi, we're looking at Skylar Diggins, we're looking at all these other female players as well. They're getting championships, they're getting accolades. And guess what? You're having teammates say, if I didn't have a teammate like them to push, I don't know if we would have done it. I didn't know I could succeed in the ways that they saw I could. And so in my eyes, when you have players that come like that every once in a while throughout the generations, those are ones we really need to hold on to and cherish because they are including more than just their name in the spotlight. It's, hey, it's me and 4 other people on this another 15 that got here together. Maybe I was just the voice to get people going, but I couldn't have done it without Sue Bird. I could have done it without Candace Parker. That's the whole deal. Like it's an all around circle that keeps going.
Yeah, exactly. And one of my favorite words, and everybody knows this, especially if you listen to podcasts, and also if you're one of my players, you know it. Intentionality, being intentional with what you do. I believe the best players have the habit of being intentional. Again, it's the same with consistency. They're intentional about their workout. They're intentional about what they do in practice. They're intentional about how they bring people in with teams. I'm saying with their team, how they bring people around them. Even intentional about their pregame warm up. Where's their mind at? Where's that? Like that's huge. You need to have that. So when you're not intentional about what you do, on the practice scale and the off side, like why do you feel like you're just all of a sudden going to be intentional about everything? Let's go as far as to my young hoopers. Are you intentional about learning the foundations of the skill, the fundamentals of the skill? Are you intentional about doing what'd you say?
Let them know.
Let them know. Like are you intentional about not traveling? Are you intentional about jump stopping with 2 feet and really working on like your jab and not traveling with by picking your other foot up? Are you intentional with learning your left hand? Are you intentional with ball handling and doing the skills that aren't fun because you might be bigger than somebody now in middle school, but that doesn't mean you're going to be bigger than them in high school. You see it all the time. Intentionality is not just for college hoopers or high level high school players. You need to be intentional from the start that you pick the ball up. And that's what you see across the board. Like, again, going back to Kobe was intentional. He was foundational. He literally would work on his right and his left hand, being the best basketball player in the world who's still working on their right and their left hand because of how intentional he wants to be on the court. So for the people here saying, if you're young ones, you're saying that you don't need to work on ball handling or you just want to do all these James Harden moves. Okay, fine. Go do them. But let's see how far that gets you.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Mic drop everything to that because I was one of those players that was like, I don't need to work on my left hand. Like warm up before a game. Like, oh, this is so annoying. Okay, it's not annoying when you're the first one tired. when you can't dribble with your left hand, when you can't go left, it's important to do these things. And especially if you can hone in and get it when you're an evolving young player. I'm talking to you, my young hoopers that are hopefully listening to this podcast. Be intentional.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid that you're the only one going hard and it looks weird. It might look weird, but guess what? Who's going to develop skills faster? Who's going to be more confident in their skills later on? You are. It is worth the risk. It is worth the jump. It's not even a risk, really. It's just putting in more effort. If you're willing to put in more effort, it's going to pay off in the long run. Whether you want to believe it or not, it will. We guarantee it for you. In what way, we don't know, pay off for you. And I definitely agree with intentionality. That goes from warming up to workouts to showing up for practice and being intentional. There are days where we don't want to be there. There are days where it's sluggish, but at the same time, it's a team sport. At the same time, you signed up for a reason. It's that we before me mentality. You can sleep after practice. You can complain if you want after practice or whatnot. When you get on that court, it's intentional because this game is so beautiful and should not be taken for granted. And also to young hoopers, it flies by a lot faster than you think. So be intentional, give it your hardest, because you're going to look back and be like, wow, that was fun. That was so dang fun. And it's because you put in the work early on. It got easier later on, but you still stuck with the work.
Oh yeah. I looked back. I was trying to like find some old game footage for a specific reason, and it was like fun for me to watch it again because I saw how much fun I had on the court playing, and I forgot like that I played like that for a second because I've been out of it for like, a good amount of time, I guess. And I'm like, what the heck? Like I had so much fun, but then like I will tell myself I always had the goal of college basketball. So that was always in the forefront of my mind. I was always working for it. But I remember when knowing that college was like closer and I was getting more intentional, like just taking the next level of those things, you could see it in my game. Like the most fun I ever had was when I was intentional and consistent in my workouts and had that tunnel vision and had that we before me mentality and realized like all of these points that I could spread love and happiness through the game because I had so much fun with teammates. I had so much fun playing. I had so much fun working out. I looked forward to it. And then that's our last kind of quality that we wrote down as preparation. I was preparing for these games, and I'm sure you were too, Emma. Whether that's having a foam roller with me, preparing my muscles, whether that's a band, activation, always getting in, whether even if it's 2 minutes of ball handler, like in the layup line, like messing around with the ball to feel good with playing and stuff like that. Like preparation. I'm one thing too I used to do for high school games. I was kind of thinking of like AAU, but still I translated that to high school games. But one thing was mental preparation. I would literally sit there before going out with my head down, eyes closed, and I would go through the game mentally. What would I do in this situation? What would I do passing the ball in? What would I do if someone's pressing me? What do I do on our offense? Like I would run through it in my head. And then that really helps me come onto the court and not be shocked by anything or whatever. I was almost getting like extra reps in. So preparation goes a long way too with building these habits that these good players adapt.
Absolutely. If you're not prepared to get prepared, you're not going to be intentional at all. If you're not in that mindset, knowing like, hey, for me to go to practice, I have to wake up maybe an hour and a half early. I have to
I'm
get
so
nutrition.
glad you just said that. I'm not trying to cut you off, but I literally had to get on my players last week for it because we had to practice at 12 and one of them woke up at 11:15 and you could see it. Had the most lazy practice ever. So please take note of that, please.
Yes, exactly. And we say that only because we want you to perform well. We don't want you to be called out by your coaches and your peers because it will happen. So here's the thing. Make sure you are intentional with preparing. Don't just prepare to say that you prepared and whatnot. That means getting your proper sleep, waking up in the right amount of time to eat your food. So that way it has time to digest. You can get to practice and you're awake by the time you're there. And we all know no one likes those 8 a.m., 9 a.m. practices, but you can prepare yourself to have a good 9 a.m., 8 a.m. practice and whatnot. Yes, does it take a little bit more effort? It really does, but that's what matters the most and what you're going to get out of it the most, especially when we prepare when it comes to games, practices, even team trips or team events or team activities. that shows so much character growth within yourself and within your own team. And that will go so much farther than how many baskets you made, how many steals or rebounds you get. And that's one thing that I really do cherish about this game is when someone prepares, when someone is intentional and consistent with their workouts and has that we before me mentality, and also realizes basketball is a game and then there's life outside of it, so many beautiful things can happen. And that can happen for that person, the teammates, the coaches, the whole organization, and ultimately even the fans all around. When you put all these key things together, you will enjoy the game at a certain level that you never even thought you could enjoy the game at. And we are solely saying this because I'm speaking for myself. Maybe I could speak for Jay too. It's because looking back, maybe there were times we didn't have some of these qualities. Maybe there were some times where we did lack because we were, tired, or like, oh, this is just another ball handling drill. Like I've done this for years or whatever. It's in those little moments where you can get better. It's where you take that mindset away and you're like, no, even the greats still do this. I want to be great. So let's keep doing this. It's being intentional. It's being prepared. It's locking in and looking at the right things to focus on, being consistent and realizing that this game can go way farther than the basketball court.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think that's a good point to end off. Emma kind of mic dropped right there. Had a lot of good stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. ASMR. No, but that was so good. And I think that's like a really good place to just kind of end off. We hit all of our topics, but just being able to dive into them more, through that, I think it's really important to even like the thing is like the biggest tip that I want to say here is one, evaluate like where can you be better at? And if it's multiple things, take it one step at a time. Don't like try to put consistent, like all of these things. Don't like try to do it all at once. There's things that you can do, step by step, or, positivity that's, for someone who's negative, like that's hard. And I will acknowledge that. And I think that's fine because you're finding growth within that, but take these things one step at a time. Figure out where you need to grow, how you can implement them, especially with consistency. I think that one for a lot of people is probably the hardest because when you're coming from not being consistent to being consistent, that is hard. Especially with, practicing all the time is not, I love to practice, but still you're going to have those days where you're just like, you don't want to go, or you are tired, or your body's sore. So I think just find at least one thing and focus on it this week coming up. But Emma, do you have anything else to say before we end off?
Yeah, just really quick. I hope everyone paid attention to the fact that we did not say to be a good player, you have to score the most points. You have to get the most rebounds and you have to get the most assists. I know so many six mans of the year, so many people who don't get as much minutes as starters who were ultimately the best players on our team. Yeah. It goes way beyond being having skills in the basketball area, having that basketball IQ. It comes back to your character as well. How intentional are you? How prepared are you? Are you willing to work to better yourself as a player and as a person at the same time? So just know, just because you're scoring all those points does not mean you are the best player. Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yes.
But we want you to be all around. Again, these are two, like they're habits, you know what I'm saying? So if you look at and you were to study the best player, what habits do they put into their life that translate to the court? That's the thing is like, these things translate. You might not think it. You might not be like, because again, consistency, intentionality, preparation, all of those things are like they're on court stuff too, like we said, workouts, this. And then obviously the other three, like tunnel vision, positivity, we before me, mentality, those are things that come with the game, those are things, whatever. So try to implement those into your game. And I promise you, it's going to take you a long way. But again, we want to remind you guys to go check out the sweatshirts that we have on. We love them. They're so comfy. Again, there's a few other options for you. The link will be on the Instagram, all over TikTok. If I could put it in the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, will be in the link description and all of that stuff. So make sure to go check it out. Pre-order is for 1 week. Okay. So we need you to pre-order this week so that we can get them to you before Christmas. So That's nice. A nice little Christmas gift for somebody. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to the first episode of season 3. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow us on at Us Girls United on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also TikTok. You can follow me on TikTok. Emma unfortunately doesn't have one. We're trying to get her on that. Well, she has one, but like there's nothing on it. Okay. So it's just my name. We're working on it, one step at a time. Remember we talked about that, one step at a time. So we're applying it to TikTok too.
That's all I know though.
Hit the high note. Yeah. The TikTok is my name. So JTappedXOXO. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this podcast, and we will see you guys next week.